Hello, my name is Fergal Glynn and I'm VP of Marketing at Docurated. I'm joined today by Ryan Cook, who is co-founder and VP of Engineering, and also Adam Dustin. Adam is also a co-founder and he is the VP of Product. Today we are going to present the case study of how the CMO at an Internet of Things company used artificial intelligence for sales content to see what collateral was working and what was not, how content was changed in the field, and how those changes affected her team's performance. With this information that was surfaced through the Docurated content graph, she started to understand customer interactions and was able to make changes to sales and marketing so that more resources were put on the investments that were generating a return. The data also gave the CMO early insight into prospects' reactions to new products and helped her predict what products were going to be hits and what was going to fall short of expectations. But first, Adam will give a brief introduction to artificial intelligence for sales content and what is special about this new technology.
A fundamental premise of Docurated is that we're able to get a maximal amount of data in an organization and keep it really up to date. So we're able to connect to just about any data source in an organization, and we're not only syncing document data, but we're syncing a lot of non-document data also. So for example, we're syncing comments from Google Drive, we're syncing things from not even document sources like CRMs. For example, we get opportunities from Salesforce, and we also sync things like micro blog posts and replies from SharePoint, just to provide a few examples. We recognize that the easier it is to set up a connector, the more data we're going to be able to feed into our system and the more value we're going to be able to bring to our customers. So it's crucial for us to make setting up connectors as easy as possible. So this is an admin panel that we provide to users, and this is just a demo user that we've set up with several different connectors. And you can see that we're really able to connect to a lot of different sources and provide just a few high-level statistics about the type of content that we're actually seeing in those sources and indexing and using to generate insight. The most crucial things about our connectors, and we think what really differentiates them from the other products in the space, minimal configuration. We're able to get into repositories and just sync exactly what customers need to be synced with very, very little effort on the customer's part. We offer an SDK, so we have a lot of customers that have their own homegrown document repositories, and they actually end up using our SDK. We can run connectors both on our side and also on the user side. So we actually have a lot of customers who are very sensitive about exposing API ports over the internet. And one of the amazing things about our system is that we essentially have software that we can deploy on their side that goes ahead and indexes content and then transmits it over a secure connection to Docurated. So those were just a few things that we wanted to tell you about our connectors. And so next we wanted to cover activity. And we're going to start with what we call the Docurated graph. And Ryan is going to go ahead and take this.
So what you're looking at is a visualization of our DocuGraph. And really this is a series of a connected graph of different elements of data in our system and data that we can capture. So this is not necessarily just data that we're deriving. This may be external data coming from an underlying repository. And this really represents relationships between documents and different entities in the data set. And so some of the things you're looking at here are authors or modifiers of documents, topics or categories that the documents are getting tagged into, CRM objects, so maybe a notion of CRM information that is being associated with a document, for example, like an industry or a particular customer. And these relationships are weighted. So every edge in the graph is a weighted edge, and it's weighted by a variety of metrics. Here, what we're looking at is kind of an aggregated metrics that we call document effectiveness. And this is really a combination of activity, distribution, so sharing or emails, and other attributed attributes such as revenue or value more generally. And document effectiveness can be inherited. So an author may gain all the effectiveness of documents that they have created. And then teams that that author is a member of may also inherit a portion of that author's weight. So the weight of the nodes or the size of the nodes tends to show their hierarchy in the graph. And exploring the graph can really highlight how is content being used in an organization? How effective is it? What type of value can we attribute to individual pieces of content? And what is discoverable? Like, where can this content be reached? One of the things, given the variety of our connectors and the scale of the enterprises that we deploy into, we're going to see content from a lot of different sources. And that oftentimes there's content that's available to an end user performing a search from a source that they may not be aware of. And so how are they connected to that source? And then given the weight of that piece of content, how high up in the search result, how is that content being ranked to match against their search? And so we really view the richness of our Docurated graph and the complexity of the data as being very key underpinning to both the search experience as well as some of the more advanced features of our product.
Thank you, Ryan and Adam, for that intro to the technology of artificial intelligence for sales content. Now, let's see how this technology is applied at a customer site. As mentioned in this case study, it's about an Internet of Things company. And at this company, the business was led or addressed through a developer and partner ecosystem cultivated through marketing-led efforts. And marketing's mission was to make the business profitable and guide the company to their next IoT investment. However, and I hear this over and over again, however, marketing and everybody at this company, they were just drowning in a flood of siloed information. And marketing in particular had no way to see or understand the return on their campaigns and content. And without this data, they had no precise way to predict the future, to know where their IoT market was going, or where their company should invest. And as you can see from this slide, and actually how the CMO described her marketing technology stack to me, is she calls it heterogeneous. She's got everything from Oracle to Google to Jive to Digital River and Brainshark. So when you think about all the types of marketing technology investments a company could make, this company had a sprinkling pretty much of everything. And the CMO, she believed in a content-driven approach to go-to-market. And content-driven just means leveraging using blog posts, white papers, emails, video, podcasts, any type of content you can imagine to reach and engage with their most important audiences, who are developers, partners, customers, prospectors, and even investors. But 80% of content at this company, it was unstructured. And unstructured, examples of unstructured content include emails, customer correspondence, free-form fields on applications, wikis, blobs of text in a database, messages of all kinds. And because this content, it lacked structure, it was difficult to search and analyze without massive effort. And the CMO's team, they did not know how or where their content was used, how it was modified, or the outcomes of customer interactions. When it comes to having really good intelligence about your content and really for machine learning to be able to work and to drive value for the users, is your machine learning algorithms to be able to consume activity from across the enterprise, not just from within a sales content management system, but from all the different systems across the enterprise. And now Adam is going to spend just a few minutes talking about how activity is so important to artificial intelligence for sales content.
One way that we're able to see activity in an organization is and by activity I really just mean usage, like people viewing documents, people modifying documents, downloading documents, sharing, that type of thing. One way that we're able to see activity in an organization is just through activity that occurs in Docurated. So just like any other product out there, people are searching in Docurated, they're viewing. We have a few other functions that you can do sort of once you've found objects. You can tag things, share, present. So this is all the activity that's actually happening within our system. And for many of our competitors, when they're looking at activity to use for relevance ranking, they're really just stopping here. And so one amazing thing about Docurated is that we recognize the existence of lots of other forms of activity that are occurring elsewhere in the system. So for example, for a company that has both Google Drive and SharePoint, you have a lot of people that are not accessing a document primarily in Docurated. They're going in through Google Drive or they're going in through SharePoint, and that ends up providing crucial data that we use in our system and crucial connections in our Docurated graph. And even just looking at document repositories, we're leaving out what's a behemoth in every enterprise that we sell to, which is email. So, for example, when we're selling to a sales or marketing organization, we're dealing with a lot of users who are sending out, tons and tons of collateral over email. And so it's absolutely crucial that we're able to capture that activity also and use it to provide insight and value for customers. And so one way that this ends up manifesting itself is in our search results. When I search for the term effectiveness, I'm getting a number of results back, but and the results that we're getting back, of course we support filters and we support filtering on attributes of other objects that these documents are associated with, and some other things that you might expect in products like ours. But we're also doing boosting, so we're ranking documents and search results using a formula that includes things like recently modified, whether or not the document has been tagged, whether or not the search result matches the title or something else, and whether it matches metadata. But most importantly, and again, I think that this is a way that our product really stands out, is that we're also using activity that's occurring outside of the actual Docurated product. So for example, the 5th search result that you're seeing here is ranked very highly. You can see this is a score that we assign to every document. It's called DocuRank. And you can see that the score that we're assigning to this document here for actions is 84.8. That's a really high score. So even though this is an old document, this has not been modified for the last 12 months, by virtue of activity that is occurring anywhere in the enterprise around this document, it is ranked very highly in search results. And one of our core premises is that using this as a signal in ranking is totally indispensable. It's impossible to do this well without having an extensive picture of what activity is happening where in an organization. One thing that we've heard from our customers is that they've told us about their experiences with other products and home-based solutions, and that this has been a component that's really been missing for them. It might be that there's a document that has been recently viewed by many other people just in your immediate department, and that result ends up getting buried underneath many other results just because those other results have better keyword matches. So we regard this as being an absolutely core part of our relevance calculation.
Thank you, Adam. Now Ryan is going to talk about how this Internet of Things company was able to see the signal from the noise using the content graph.
The content graph is very valuable, and another place that we can bring that to give value to our end users is in analytics, and this can help and also help influence decision making kind of at a more holistic level by looking at how content is being utilized across an organization. So certainly for end users, they are benefiting from this by seeing highly relevant search results for particular queries. But for other members of the enterprise, particularly people that are generating a lot of content as opposed to trying to search or find content, they're interested in how it's performing and what we call effectiveness of that content. And so this is a picture of one of our analytics screens, and here you're seeing several charts and graphs. And they contain attributes that we've mentioned already, such as actions and shares. One thing that we can do with activity is we can plug that into statistical models, look at it for correlating events, and use that to attribute value to documents. So on the right-hand side here, you see what we call top-performing files, and one of the columns is attribution. This is actually called revenue attribution. It's a dollar amount. And this is a notion of a value for an individual piece of content, and this is combining activity, distribution, and other events that are happening in the system. And we believe these documents are contributing to revenue-generating activity in the enterprise. And we can see that maybe through a CRM system that a particular deal has increased the amount of revenue being brought in to the company, and we'll take a portion of that and attribute it to content that was distributed over the lifetime of a particular sales situation. So this really helps you make another way to make sense of our content graph outside of influencing relevancy in search results.
Thanks, Ryan and Adam. So to recap, artificial intelligence for sales and marketing content, when we think about this particular category, you want to think about artificial intelligence driving decisions around revenue-generating activities in the enterprise. As you're making investments in this type of sales and marketing technology, you want to look for something that can discover all of your structured and unstructured content, no matter where it lives. Then machine learning that predicts the most effective activity and content combinations so that your advisors and your salespeople receive tailored recommendations on which content to use for each specific client. Thank you for watching our session today. If you'd like to learn more about the new and exciting area of artificial intelligence for sales content, please visit www.docurated.com for more information. Thank you.